What the heck is up, guys? It's Jacob here, and today we're doing another video on like the basics of like networking and stuff like that for the components. So we did a video recently on firewalls and switches. So today we're going to discuss routers and what they are and what they do. So let's go ahead and take a look at a router, and let's actually discuss like its role in network and what it does. What the hell exactly is a router? So that's what this video is going to be about. So let's go ahead and take a look at a router itself. Alright guys, so it's a little bit quieter in here. So we're basically going to explain the function of a router. Now this is, a lot of people don't understand it. Now this is a typical home router that you would find in, the average home. You would find this in some businesses. You find these everywhere. I mean, these are absolutely everywhere. You'll find these everywhere. But this is a router. Now, most routers today that you'll find are wireless routers. This is kind of a one and all package, all in one, that's what you call it. It's got a firewall, router, a wireless on it, everything. It's got DHCP, it's got everything. But what is the actual router function? That's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people just call this whole thing a router. This is technically a router. It's a wireless router, but it also includes a firewall and a couple of other things in it. So it's not just a router, but it does have a router function in it. So what is a router? What is the part that a router does? Well, to understand that better, let's go ahead and take a look here at the topology real quick. Now, I've used this many times before, but what a router actually does, the technical description of it, the actual definition for router, is it connects two networks together, two separate networks, two or more. It'll connect two or more, not just two. It can connect two or more, but typically it's just connecting two networks, one to another. So in most cases, the internet to your local network, that's what it does. So the average home, what most people do is they have their modem coming in, and it'll be a fiber optic or cable. Today it's not too uncommon to find fiber optics anymore. But most of them are still cable modems, and then what happens is you have an Ethernet jack that comes out of there, and that provides a single IP address that will only provide internet to one single device, either one computer or this router. So what this router does is you have the internet coming in here, that's one network, and then it goes to your local network. And what this will do is provide many addresses to connect all those devices, because the modem will only provide one address. It will not provide any more. You can only connect one device to a modem. So what this does is it connects the internet network to your local network. So they connect two networks, separate networks together. And what it also does is the router function of this actually provides IP addresses. So in our case, what we have is we have the internet that goes into the router. It also has a firewall built in it, in this case, not a proxy server. That's totally different. That's for another video that I have explaining my other firewall, my pfSense firewall, but that's a little bit more advanced and complex. It's for larger networking than what you would see on an average home. But the actual router function of it does nothing more than route packets from one to another. That's all it does. It just routes packets is what it does. So let's say I have a computer on here that makes a request for a YouTube video. So I have a computer on the network that is actually requesting a YouTube video from YouTube, but that's on another network, that's on the internet. So we're going to have something from a local network requesting packets from the actual internet network. So there's two networks communicating between each other through the router itself. That's this guy right here. So you would have the computer right here, and it would connect to the internet, and they would talk to each other through there. So the way it does it is the router will actually assign an IP address to each of these computers, so it knows where the packets are going. So it's going to say, okay, computer 192.168.0.107 is requesting this YouTube video from YouTube. So it'll connect to the YouTube servers through the internet, and it'll route those packets to that specific computer, 192.168.1.107 or whatever. And each of the computers will have a specific address, and it will route packets between the networks to those specific computers. That's what the router does. The firewall determines which packets are safe to go in which direction and what ports they can go through and stuff like that. That's a little bit different. The router determines where the packets are going. The firewall determines the safety of those packets and, you know, triggers and rules and stuff like that, where packets can and can't go. The router part of it just routes packets wherever they need to go. It just is completely open, and it routes packets wherever. There's no safety net whatsoever. So that's where the firewall comes in. And typically you have a, you know, decent firewall built in one of these routers. Now, the wireless part of it is just an addition. Think of it, you know, I don't know how to think of it, but it's totally 100% an addition. You can have a router that's just wired. You can have wires. For instance, my pfSense firewall that I've done another video on is a perfect example of a wired router. You can have internet coming in here and computers plugged in here, right? And then if you wanted more computers, you could plug a switch in here and extend that and plug in as many devices as you want. But I mean, let's say I have here my, you know, my iPhone here, and it connects to this local network through wireless. It's practically the same as just having a LAN going right into here. It's just a wireless LAN is all it is. Sometimes it's called WLAN for a wireless LAN. It literally is the local network, but it's just without a LAN cable. It's wireless, so it's basically a wireless version of a LAN port, and that's totally an addition. That's nothing to do with the router. So the router is not actually what makes the wireless signal. It is what routes the packets. The wireless part of the router, when you have a wireless router that has wireless capabilities, that allows you to connect devices wirelessly to the local side of the network. So this is your local side, these ports here, this is your local network, and it connects to another network, typically the internet. Now, in some cases, for instance, I'll say like at our school, you would also have a router and a firewall between, even on your local network, and to separate the network. Because let's say you have some servers at your school and those are protecting some files, but you also have wireless routers at the school so people can connect to Wi-Fi and computers. But you don't really want to have them all on the exact same local network, because that's kind of a safety issue. So what you'll do is you'll have a local network and you'll have your servers and then your computers and wireless routers all kind of separated between a router and a firewall. And that's just to kind of protect your private side of the local network from your public side. So the public, anyone can come in and just use a computer and connect to the wireless, right? But we don't want them to have certain access points to our servers. So it all is the same local network in terms of, yes, it's all on the same network and it all connects to the internet through the same connection, but you have some separation between your private and your public side of your local network, and that can be done using routers and firewalls again. So it's kind of separating your local network into two different networks, if you will, and that's again what the router does, is it kind of connects two different networks together, just creating a larger local network. So that's what the router does. All it does is route packets and like give out IP addresses. Usually it has a DHCP server to assign IP addresses to these, or you can statically assign them, but it determines where packets go between machines and between two networks. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. That's pretty much all a router does. I mean, you can get into some more technical things. I might make future videos. That's just an explanation of what a router does. I mean, you can get into more technical things like the networking and subnet masks and how it makes the addresses and protocols and all that type of crap. But that's a totally, you know, whole different series of videos. This is just explaining the basic whole function of a router as a whole, you know, not the actual very technical details of it. That would be a whole other series of videos for a little bit later, but that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any more questions or comments, throw them down below in the comments section, or go to my website at thehackhub.com. You can go to /forums to get into the forums, and you can post video requests or questions there. I'm hoping to see more users there, so head on over to thehackhub.com, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and like always, guys, have a good one.